Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs, and I guess I'm going to have to say the world's leading real estate entrepreneurs, because this is my first time of talking with somebody who is from Canada and also still in Canada. And I got a special treat for you guys today. I got Dan Illis in the house, and he's going to go into some real cool details about building and that process. He's got a background in civil engineering and urban planning, and his specialty is subdividing land and small multifamily properties. And really, he's probably the best guy to talk to for people that are wanting to get into doing their first deals and their first builds. So for those of you that want to develop some land into some real estate, this is the guy to talk to, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Before we get started, just remember, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses so they can build the businesses they've always wanted in order to live the lives they've always dreamed of. With that being said, Dan, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Glad you're here, my friend. Let me ask you this, so that way we can get a little bit of backstory from you. You have a background in civil engineering, like I said. You also have founded a company called Water Bill Solutions, where you do water sub-metering for multifamily and commercial properties. You got a lot going on. You got a real long rap sheet of accolades here. And so with that, what got you started in the real estate space, coming from civil engineering, and how have things evolved to where you're at today?
Well, it's not the most unique story, but as with a lot of real estate investors, it started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read the book and my brain did a 180. I was still working my civil engineering career at that time, which I've since left about 4 years ago. And after reading the book, getting into some podcasts, reading some more books, real estate was it for me. It just made so much sense, and I dove in head first.
What's Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I'm just kidding. If I had a nickel, I'm telling you what. Yeah, man, that's where a lot of us start, right? I mean, I remember it ironically wasn't the exact Rich Dad, Poor Dad that I think most people start on, but my first Kiyosaki book was The Cash Flow Quadrant, and I read it in about 2 days, and I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep in that 48-hour time period because it was just such astounding information to take in. As I think I was 18 or 19 when I read that book, and I was like, I've been lied to. So you got started in that. At what point in your career in civil engineering were you when you picked that book up? Or was this like in the process of becoming a civil engineer? Where were you at during that time?
Specifically, I was about 27 years old. I had been in the civil engineering world for about 5-6 years at that time. And that's kind of when it hit me. I wish I had read it when I was 18 like you, but it found me when it did. And then that's kind of when I started down this path.
And so what was your first deal that you took on?
So my first deal actually was a small development deal. So essentially what I ended up doing is my mom and her husband owned a duplex on a big corner lot. I ended up purchasing the house next door to theirs.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And then we were able to subdivide both their backyards off to create 2 new building lots. So that was my very first deal. The house that I bought itself was kind of just a run-of-the-mill rental. I put tenants in it. And then while I had it rented out, I started on the process of subdividing the backyards off.
Wow. Now, was this something that you, if you didn't have your civil engineering background, that you wouldn't have thought to do, or how much of a factor did that play into this?
I could still see myself thinking to do it, and I could see other people thinking to do it. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, I've always wanted to, I've been eyeing up this property, so on and so forth. But having the civil engineering background kind of gave me the tools to know how to do it, right? I'm a civil drafter by trade, so I know my way around drawings and AutoCAD and surveys and that kind of stuff. So where for a lot of people it's a concept, for me it was here it is, here's your opportunity, let's go.
Yeah, like second nature almost.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I just, if you're familiar with Bigger Pockets, he's no longer a host of the show, but I was hanging out with David Green, who is, he's made somewhat of a name for himself in the real estate space. And he's he talks a lot about how, and he's known to be the cash flow king of breaking off and thinking of how to create new additions in your own home to create other sources of cash flow, whether that's a screened-in porch that you turn into another room or whatever that might be. So it almost is like you've taken that concept, whether you knew about it or not, and almost done it with the land itself.
That's a fair way to put it. But you know what? I'm glad you bring that up, because around here in my part of Canada, so I'm in Ontario, most of the cities around here are now allowing you to do 3 to 4 units on any piece of property, right? So I'm currently taking an existing duplex. I've doubled the size of the house by adding a huge addition, and I'm turning it into a 4-plex. So when it's all said and done, I'll have 3 3-bedroom units, 2 driveways, 8 cars worth of parking. It's just a really, really nice concept to be able to add units like that to an existing property.
Yeah. Now, so where does Water Bill Solutions fit in with all this?
Yeah, so when I did my very first duplex conversion, which was a very popular strategy around here for the longest time, I had put in separate furnaces, separate ductwork, separate ACs, separate electric panels, everything. I split everything, every last utility that I could. I was looking for a solution for how to divide up the water and pass the costs back to tenants. I found a system from a small company out of the US. I installed it in the unit, and it worked great. I was able to log on, see how much water each unit was using down to the hour, draw up invoices, send it to the tenants, and essentially I was just recouping all my water costs. And then I started telling other investors about it, and they started saying, can you get me one? Can you get me one? And next thing you know, I'm like, okay, there's a business opportunity here. And then I've just been growing that ever since.
Wow. So like all impeccable businesses, you had a problem that you came up with the solution for, and then other people were like, I'll pay you to do it too.
Pretty much. And yeah, I first started just helping people acquire these systems, but then I literally built a business around it to the point where I'm doing larger apartment buildings now, not just 2, 3, 4 unit type stuff.
Right, totally. Because ultimately that's where the money's going to flow for a business like that. Is the bigger the project, the better the bill, right?
It is. It's been helpful too. Like these systems will also notify you if there's ever a suspected like leak or water abuse or anything like that. So
if you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
if you've got the continually running toilet, you'll get an email. Like, I actually had tenants try install a pool without telling me, one of those 3-foot kiddie blow up things. Next thing you know, I get an email and I'm able to like put an end to that right away. So that's been super helpful too, in addition to the whole financial side of things.
Wow. So this is really interesting. With both of the companies you have, I guess what's the main focus for you in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months? What do you really see doing in both of these spaces? I mean, is your goal to just be developing only? Is it to have both companies kind of run themselves? What's really the big goal for you?
Having both companies run themselves would be like kind of a long-term end goal. Right now I'm kind of between two things. So like when I have active construction on the go, obviously that requires some more attention. When I'm not doing active construction, I'm actively growing the water submetering business.
Okay. And so what do you really want the world to know about your expertise? I guess that's a fair question, because you've got some strategies and techniques that I don't think are common.
Yeah, I would say this. Like, if someone's listening to us speak right now, the one thing that I'm really good at and I advocate for is I help people kind of do their first build. You know what I mean? Your first duplex, triplex, fourplex, kind of that small multifamily. And I do it in a way where it's fairly safe. And by that, I'll give you a little bit of an example here. So I took a property. It was 100 feet wide by 150 feet deep. Okay. And the house was well off to one side. So I was able to split that property into two 50-foot wide lots. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's when I split that property in half, the house retained its value. It was still worth just as much as I had paid to acquire the whole property, but the vacant lot was worth $312,000 because I'm in a high cost of living area, right? So that is one of the best ways that you can acquire land. And even better than that, buying land can be difficult because it's hard to get financing on it. But if you go after a property that already has a house on it, you can go get a traditional mortgage. You can put a tenant in there. Maybe the property will carry itself while you work on the development. It's a very kind of training wheels way to get into either like flipping land or building out.
So I just want to make sure that I heard this right, but you essentially created $300,000 out of thin air or dirt, essentially.
Yes, and I've done that a few times. It works really, really well in high cost of living areas where the act of splitting a piece of property just creates so much value just because of the high cost of land.
Sure. Yeah, man, that's nuts. Now, so, I mean, obviously the market up there I'm not as familiar with in terms of like a U.S. market, but with it being so high cost, what would be a popular market here in the States that you would compare it to, so I kind of have a way of thinking about it in terms of like an analogy? Like, is it like California expensive? Is it Florida expensive? Where would you say the market is comparable to in terms of that land cost especially?
It's Seattle. It's definitely Seattle around here. California would be another fair comp as well. It's any of those really high cost of living areas, and there's other cities around here or there, but it's pretty consistent across across the board here.
No kidding. Now, so with that,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
that's really good info. I actually have a really good friend of mine, ironically, who's a developer in Seattle. So that's that's a really, really good sticking point for me. And so in that, I know some of the challenges that come with that, of course, are finding new land. So what is your strategy when you go to find a new property? Like, what are your criteria that you're looking for? Is it that it has an existing structure on it so you can do that process, especially with the financing piece being difficult? Or
So for me, it's simple. It has to have upside. It can't just be a vacant lot. It can't just be a house. It has to have upside. So if I go after a vacant lot, actually I bought one somewhat recently, it can be subdivided into 3 building lots. And it's the same with when I'm buying a house with some excess land. I have to know up front through a due diligence process that I've kind of hammered out over time that there's a very, very high chance that I'll be able to split off the excess land, create a building lot, whether I flip the lot, which I have done, or hang on to it and build out some multifamily.
sure. So with obviously vacant lot, but what's something else that makes a deal like an instant no for you?
To the opposite of that, it's no upside. It's got to be a deal. We've all heard this time and again. You make money on the buy, and you know what? I bet you that's more true than ever when it comes to development and land type projects.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the biggest turning point in your business for you?
Oh, good question. I think it's once I had a few projects go really well, when I was able to stack some cash. And so actually when I first started this, I started subdividing excess land, creating building lots and selling them to builders. Then after I had done that a couple times, then I started hanging on to my own and building myself. Once I had stacked up a bit of cash, had the reserve, I started seeing the exit to my career, and that really got the gears going in my head.
Are you a pioneer of this, or is there anybody doing this on a grander scale that you follow?
Speaking of Seattle, Thatch Nguyen has been doing this kind of stuff. There's other guys in the U.S. Now, one thing I want to explain that differentiates me between some other folks you may have heard on podcasts is a lot of land guys or land people out there are buying lots and flipping them, getting good deals on them. I don't really do that. What I do is I go more after the entitlements, the get a piece of land, subdivide it a few times, get a piece of land, upzone it, get a piece of land, and essentially what you're doing is you're kind of, in not so many words, renovating the land. You're making it worth more than it currently is.
So you talk about upside. What does upside actually mean? Is it what you can do with the piece of property? How many more units you could build on it? What does that look like?
I think for me, it's creating value and equity right away. So like, I'll give you another example. I bought a property for $290,000. I tore the house completely down. It was a terrible house. Actually, I bought it from the bank. Then I got approval to split the land into 2 building lots, and each lot sold for $215, right? So I paid $290, but then I sold 2 lots for $215 each. That's the upside right there. It's the fact that a vacant building lot is only worth slightly less than a dumpy house.
Totally. How do you find most of your deals?
MLS works to a degree, and you know why it works? It's because I'm not looking at it the way that everyone else does, where a lot of like home buyers are looking for a home, obviously, or even investors are looking for, can I add a room? Can I fix this up? Can I flip this? I'm looking at a property as like, oh, it's got a garage off to the side. Can I rip the garage off and split off a 40-foot lot? Which
Yeah.
I've done. So like that kind of stuff's what I look for. And there are often those gems sitting on the MLS just because people don't think to look for that kind of stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different and creative way of looking at a property and finding value that the average investor wouldn't even consider.
Yep.
So, on that note, I mean, you're talking about like 40 feet, and I'm like looking at my office thinking to myself, that's only like 3 times the size of the length of this room here. Like, how big of a structure can you actually build on a 40-foot wide, like, actual lot?
Well, up here, I can speak to up here at least. If you have side yard setbacks that are about 4 feet each side, that's all you really have. And your lot is decently deep, you can do a pretty big, long and skinny house. And then we do basements up here. Every house has a basement up here. So what you end up doing, you do the basement, 1 unit, you do the main floor, next unit, you do the second floor, that's your third unit. That's your triplex right there on a 40-foot lot.
Yeah, makes sense. With the construction aspect, how long do your builds typically take?
So my last build, start to finish, was 2 houses at the same time. That was about 8 months. That was a bit long, and I was pretty green at the time. The current build I'm doing, I think I'm going to knock it out in 5 months. And again, that's me general contracting it too. So I'm on site often. I'm driving everybody. I'll pick up a hammer here and there between trades if I need to get over a hump or get something done. And yeah, it's served me well.
At what point do you think you're going to have that feeling that you've made it?
After this podcast.
Oh, what a great answer.
No,
Nice.
after I've made it, I would say once my cash flow is at a point where I'm not even really thinking about income. When I want to go on a trip, it's there. I know it's there. You know what I mean? I'm not a fancy guy. You know what I mean? I drive older cars and whatnot, but I just I think once everything's covered and then some. And you know what? I'm on my way to that too.
What'll you do when you get to that point? I mean, I know you talk about not a fancy guy, all of that. How does your life change when you get there?
I'm going to live it a bit more for myself. Do a bit more traveling. Maybe splurge a little bit more than I have. Yeah, I want to do some more traveling. I'm a big motorcycle guy, man. It'd be nice just to do some more trips on the bike and just, again, live life a little bit more for myself.
Totally. What's stopping you from doing it now?
I do it in small doses now. I want to do it a little
Small
more
doses.
regularly.
Yeah, you bet, man. Because, like, ultimately, we all get into real estate for, I think really the ultimate goal is freedom, right?
Yep.
Because it's one of the only businesses that you can get into that you can actually work your butt off for a season and then actually enjoy the fruits of that labor that continue to produce, whether you go and pick up a hammer or not, right?
I would say this too. I like working on my own stuff, right? So I left my career almost 4 years ago, so I've been doing my own thing since then. There's been some very stressful days at times, but you know what? I prefer to deal with my own problems, put out my own fires, dictate my own schedule. That alone to me is worth it all day long, even if there are days here and there where I'm kind of banging my head wishing I was drawing up a survey. So
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of like when you become like full-fledged entrepreneur, you're trading that 9 to 5 or that 8 to 6 for more of a 5 to 9, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. But there's just something about the flexibility and the freedom to only have to deal with your own BS, right?
it is.
It's worth it.
It is, and there's no shortage of my own BS for what it's worth. But again, I still prefer it all day long.
Yeah, totally. So what Mark, I know you really like helping people to, or you at least advise, how much of your involvement, are you coaching yet at this point, or with those people that are wanting to get into their first builds, like how are you helping those people?
Sure. I've participated in some events, so I've hopped up on stage, kind of walked through how, like exactly how you subdivide a piece of property, how you run due diligence on things, and that's where I can really like help somebody looking to get into this. It's you got to get your due diligence right, and I kind of go through a checklist or a process just at a high level. It's kind of what's the size of the property, what's the zoning, what's the infrastructure. I teach people how to go find what infrastructure is there and isn't there. Is there environmental factors? Are you next to a highway? Are you next to a railroad? I've kind of just got this all systematized, just point by point on things that can stop your development or cause you problems along the way. And that's what I've gotten good at, and that's what I help people with.
You bet, man. Well, if somebody wants to learn more about what you're doing, where should they go for that, Dan? Where can they connect with you for more?
Instagram's the best. It's Illes Invest, ILLES_invest. I got some stuff on YouTube. You can Google me. I've got a few videos out there of kind of, again, exactly how to run due diligence on projects like this, and I think you'll find it valuable.
Certainly. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks a ton for dropping some nuggets. For anybody that wants to learn more about this, go and hit Dan up on Instagram. Go follow him. Show him some love from the real estate pros and the Investor Fuel community. Appreciate his time. And thanks again, y'all, for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.